Here we go. Welcome, Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. With fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Yeah, fantasy football talk hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down. Pickem, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to the recording studio, we're getting loud. Getting ready, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast with your host, I'm Pickle, and with me as always, Blackburn.
What's up?
And Trimboli.
What it do?
All right. Running backs and wide receiver top 12 consensus is this week.
All that matters. That's it.
Pretty much. So, the big news for us before we go too far is with Balto. We just partnered up with them, and they do Survivor Pool as well as Pickems. It's owned by Joe Montana, actually, and his son, Nick Montana. So you can put money into like a weekly play if you want to do that, or if you guys want to put a money pool in or whatever. But for us, we're actually doing just a general season-long, I guess you could say, weekly pick 'em. So each week you'd pick the games. You get a point for a win, no points for a loss, obviously. End of the year, winner takes all. We're going to have a prize pack, one of them being a Tyler Boyd signed jersey. So, and depending on how many people get into this, Joe Montana himself said he would throw in a signed piece of memorabilia, whether it's a jersey, football, helmet, something. So,
nice. It's free.
Yes, that's the big thing.
Free
it's
to play.
Free. So, we'll include that in the links for the podcast as well as on YouTube. And if you watch us on DATV, you'll be able to, you can go to the website, thehateful8ff.com. And I'll include a link there. So, or on any of the social media platforms, we have them on that as well. So,
just to explain, when we do the pick'ems, it's straight up.
Yeah.
No lines, no nothing. You can just pick your team. If you
right.
want to pick your favorite team every week, go for it.
Right. It's just like
don't recommend that.
No.
Yeah.
Will depend on your team. But yeah, I mean, it's just no different than like your work where everybody prints out like a weekly pick'em sheet, sits it out on the table. Everybody takes one, puts $5 a pot. The only difference is this one's free and you can still win prizes. So that's big for all of us. So
absolutely.
If you want to do your own, it's playbalto.com, and you can set up your own with your friends, and you can put money in, or you can create your own setup. So
nice.
But like we said, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are on YouTube. We are on DATV, which is the local Dayton Access channel, as well as all the podcast platforms. Let's go ahead and get into the main segment, or the first segment, I should say, not the main segment. I'm already screwing up. Fantasy News and Notes.
Fantasy News Notes.
Fantasy News and Notes presented by Sleeper. People are going to probably ask why the update, but if you're watching on YouTube or DATV, you'll see why, because our new graphics guy just updated the Sleeper slide for us. So
nice.
But anyways, for Sleeper, I mean, it's a one-stop shop fantasy football app. Not only can you host your fantasy leagues on there, you can mock draft with time left just before your real fantasy drafts, or you can actually there's forums you guys can talk on, just shoot questions off of other people, and alerts. That's the big thing. So if you're drafting, you can have your phone sitting there, make sure your sound or volume is on, and you can get an alert that Cameron Meredith blew out his leg and you're up to pick and you don't go try to draft him. Or that Julian Edelman went out like literally 2 hours before with a ACL injury and you drafted him.
Still try to draft him in the 5th round.
It's happened.
Anyways.
That's why you need Sleeper.
That's why you need Sleeper, so you're not left out in the cold on those moments. So, not much news. The big ones that we found were Tariq Cohen, per Nagy, was overworked in 2018. So, is that a concern for you? Does that hype up David Montgomery even more? Or is it just kind of, this is coach talk still, and it is what it is?
What'd they say? It wasn't, the word overworked's not what I want to use here, but they said they utilized him
too much.
Too many different ways. So I think he's going to go back to the traditional way he was used with Jordan Howard was there. It's still going to make him highly valuable.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think it changes Montgomery at all for me. I just think Cohen, you got to realize he's not going to be all over the field this year.
I know you're the big Cohen fan, so
well,
what
like
do you?
him because he was all over the field.
Right.
Obviously, the more he's on the field, the more opportunity you have for points. However, I don't know about this rookie. If he starts taking a lot of the passing game, then obviously that's going to take away from Tariq Cohen. So we'll see how that plays out.
Right. So, and I didn't put it on here, but after that, when asked about David Montgomery, Matt Nagy got really excited and hyped up about it, and you could see a smile on his face about it. And he said he's all that we've wanted him to be and more. So that's why I guess when I see the Tariq Cohen overworked in 2018, mentioned overutilizing him, and then hearing the hype continued for Montgomery. I mean, Montgomery's going in like the end of the third at the highest, beginning of fourth round in most 10-team leagues, and Tariq Cohen's not going till I think like 6th or 7th round still. He's holding his 6th, 7th round ADP. So is that a concern for anybody?
I'd rather go ahead and take the Cohen draft capital at that point.
I think it's the same way you look at New England's backfield. I mean, Sony Michel's going a lot earlier than James White. I mean, which value do you like better? If you like the James White play, then stay late. Cohen's going to be the exact same way. There's plenty of fantasy points to go around for this guy. He's going to be a RB2/RB3.
I just think that for me, I think it muddies the water for the running backs, the Bears running back, because when you pull up like the Patriots, Sony Michel has a lot of question marks, not on the field, it's his health issues.
Correct.
So that's why I think James White continues to hold so much value and so much worth in PPR, because we haven't seen Sony Michel be able to stay healthy, and he just came off at the end of last year, post Super Bowl, some sort of knee cleanup, and he was held out for a lot of offseason in-team events. Now he's been working out and so forth, but I just think Montgomery's going to stay in that third, fourth round, into the third, beginning of the fourth. I think he may struggle at the beginning just because he's a rookie, but overall, if I've got two solid running backs already set up, and it's like a first-round running back, second-round running back, and I'm going two wide receivers, then I don't have a problem taking Cohen in the 6th or 7th. But if I'm somewhere in that round where I have to draft a wide receiver in the first round and then come back and take a second running back, I don't mind taking him as my second running back if I missed out on a running back in the first round and I'm now pairing him with a Joe Mixon or a Dalvin Cook or something like that, or Nick Chubb even.
Right.
But
I don't put much faith into what Nagy says anyway, because last year he hyped up Jordan Howard.
That is
true.
true.
I
He's
don't
going to
even
be our
think
guy, 3 down back. He's not going to come off the field.
I don't even think he's on that team anymore. So
Listen, I bought into that, and I added like extra toppings. Just keep it coming.
No.
It did
Well,
not
I think
happen.
the same might be going with this rookie.
Yeah.
That's why I stick with Cohen's ADP rather than reaching in the third for me.
Right. No, yeah, that's my thing is just if he creeps up into that middle to beginning of the third round, I think that's hard for me to draft him that early. So
It's just hard not to draft the what if.
yeah.
I mean,
it's like that new toy.
That's
You want
That's
it.
what all the rookies are. They're hype.
Right.
It's
Yep.
hype.
Right. You don't want to be the guy that passed on a potential top 12 rookie running back that, like, when I say rookie top 12, I mean like overall top 12 running back that was a rookie because you were like, he's a rookie. I don't know. You can't do that anymore because the last, 3 or 4 years, a rookie running back has shown he can be top 12 depending on the situation. But there have been a lot of hyped rookie running backs that have done diddly do as well. So you kind of have to wade through the water and see really what you're getting, and unfortunately, you're not really going to know what you get with David Montgomery.
Well, my thing is
because of Matt Nagy.
With the Bears too, I mean, their offense is kind of suspect.
It is.
I agree.
So I think, and I personally think they might be playing from behind a lot. You look at the teams in that division. You got Green Bay, high-powered offense, Minnesota, high-powered offense. I know Bears defense is good, but I think they're going to be throwing more than they're going to be running, which favors Tariq Cohen as of right now.
Right, and I think that's a very valid point. And I think that's my biggest thing is how much can the defense hold until this offense gets moving? Because if they're behind, it's going to be a lot of passing opportunities for Tariq Cohen and maybe David Montgomery some. But if it's early on in the game and they can keep the game pace and controlled with Trubisky and Nagy can keep the game and a run first style offense play, then I think that helps Montgomery. But I agree with you. What can we do? I mean, their divisional games that they're going to play in are all high offensive scoring teams. So if the defense is on the field a lot, they're eventually going to get wore out.
Well, listen, and I think Detroit's going to be better this year.
Well, when you're
I think actually
bottom feeder,
I
it's
think
kind of hard.
They're going to be the
they're
bottom
better,
feeder
but they're still the bottom.
Right. They had a really down year last year. Epic down
Well,
year.
it wasn't their worst year.
No.
They did go 0-16 one year.
Yeah.
I just meant offensive efficiency in general.
True.
It was terrible.
All right, now this one's the big one that I kind of saw that kind of stuck out is Darwin Thompson leaps Carlos Hyde on the depth chart. So that's a question and concern for Carlos Hyde. Does that mean now he is potentially going to be cut at some point, or
No, he won't be. They need back. I mean,
Yeah, I think they're going to need depth here. I don't think they're going to cut him. But I think this might lead into Damian Williams. That scares me more than
and that's why I moved him down on my list because I've been all in on Damian Williams, even with Carlos Hyde being brought in. I'm like, Carlos Hyde, and we've always said is not anybody's going to really like push him for
he doesn't
volume.
fit the offense.
no.
But when I saw this Darwin Thompson kid just light it up from day one, and they've done nothing but talk him up, and then Damian Williams got hurt early on in training camp, it's just
Right. Carlos Hyde's like the insurance guy for teams. They bring him in as insurance in case their starters don't work out, but they always work out.
Right. So
I feel bad for him.
He's like that. He's like that guy that pushes the players, but never really gets his opportunity. He comes in as insurance, like you said, and he's the guy that somehow motivates the player that may be struggling mentally to get through. And
So he's your hype guy?
Maybe. Why don't they bring him into Houston? That way we get Lamar Miller hyped up a little bit more.
Because he would take the job from Lamar Miller. I'm just going to say that right now.
It could happen. I like Duke down there. Come on.
Right. I do like that Duke went in there, honestly. But so Darwin Thompson, I think he is someone now, if you're going to draft Damian Williams, somewhere in that second, third round that he's going ADP-wise, I don't have a problem taking Darwin Thompson somewhere in that 13th, 14th round as like a late-round dart throw just in case injuries or it doesn't work out.
Did you see somebody on ESPN's platform yesterday?
No.
They did a fantasy draft, and somebody meant to take him in the second round, but they accidentally selected Deontay Thompson. That was their second-round pick.
Listen, that's fantasy rule like 57. You can't break it. Remember when Hushmanzada was there?
Hushmanzada. Yeah. So, all right. And then the last one, this one's kind of I didn't take it immediately as a negative, but I kind of, with all how hyping we were about Vance McDonald, just says the OC says his role is to remain the same. They're not planning on playing him any more snaps. He's not going to be on the field anymore, but that's all and he said, so we're not really planning on using or utilizing him any more than he already was. But
they will.
Well, he was utilized a lot.
He was the top tight end one. I mean, he was in the top. I think he was like number 8 or 9 for the year. So
right, and with no AB there, those targets got to go somewhere. Juju's not going to take all of them. I know Washington's there, Moncrief.
Right.
But
I agree with you.
Vance McDonald's going to get his fair share.
Right. So when I looked at this, immediately everybody freaked out, including myself. And I was like, wait a second. So then I looked, and I'm like, okay, there's no Jesse James now. AB, we all know, is not there. Like you said, Juju cannot I mean, Juju was literally only at maybe 10 to 15 receptions, I think, behind Antonio Brown. So, I mean, how much more can you really put on his plate? Right. It was like 100 and some receptions.
So I love this news because his ADP is going to drop. So I'm over here. I have my tight end 5, and I'm like loving it. Come on, bring it to me.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's exactly what I initially. I mean, once I kind of rounded the corner and kind of calmed down and stopped hyperventilating, I was like, oh gosh, because we took him in our listener league. We already got Zeke, but anyways, but then before we go too far with that, Melvin Gordon, I just saw the news come out. It was either late last night or early this morning that per the Chargers, they don't expect him to be back by the start of the season. That's not good when the team itself is coming out with that. That tells you that they really know that they're not close.
Yeah, and you don't hear much coming out of that camp, which that scares me.
Right. And then we have shift right. We have the Ezekiel Elliott and Jerry Jones.
It's a show.
Yeah. The facade that they're putting out. Jerry Jones, Zeke, who probably, I understand it was a joke, and I didn't initially was like, yeah, it's a joke. But given the type of situation, it's not like he's out there practicing and Tony Pollard is doing well. He's not in the camp. There's obviously some sort of negotiating going on. And you said Zeke, who.
Well, joking aside, that shows you his true feelings toward the running back position.
Right. Well, he showed it with Emmitt Smith years ago, and he had to cave on his feelings because they went 0-2. That's the only reason why.
Emmitt Smith's a Hall of Famer. You had a Hall of Famer quarterback and a Hall of Famer wide receiver. I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer at that situation.
So I will just tell you, and then Zeke, obviously, and his people came back out and said we felt disrespected. We didn't find it funny, which then puts fire or stokes the fire that's already going. And then Jerry did what Jerry does best and opened his mouth post a situation he should have kept his mouth shut about and says, I've earned the right to joke with Zeke.
He has. He went to bat for him and went through all that legal trouble and was going against Goodell and everything else for Zeke. And then Zeke does this.
Has he earned
He kind of feels disrespected. I understand
that level. I don't know if I would use the phrase "I've earned the right to" because that's where the people kind of get hung up on the wording. And you could say something and the wording be said a certain way. I just know that immediately people jumped all over it and was like, oh, he earned the right. I'm like, well, technically, like you guys said, I'm not disagreeing. I think that Jerry Jones has earned that level of comfortable being able to say things like that with Ezekiel Elliott or about him because, like you said, he's gone to bat for Zeke many of times and stuck his neck out many of times for Zeke's mishaps off the field.
Right.
So
which continue.
Right.
Every offseason.
Right. So I will just tell you this: we put a poll out there the other day, if you're taking Zeke, knowing what you're looking at potentially, what's the earliest? We had 1,500 people voted. I think it was like 17% got the first round early, so keeping him in that top 4 or 5 picks, which that's a no for me. And then it was like 37% had said that they were in the late first round, and a lot of people made the comment that voted on that saying I would have to take a double back running back in the second round, like stack it, like go running back early, which most people will in theory. And then I think the next one, biggest one, was actually like mid to late second round, surprisingly enough. So
I don't know if I would even touch that.
I'm all over it. I just know when I get him back, I'm getting what I would have been my running back 1.
Right.
So
I don't mind taking him at the turn. If I'm at the turn and I can get like a Zeke and a Chubb or Mixon or Dalvin Cook in the second round, something like that, I don't mind it. But I will tell you that if you draft Ezekiel Elliott, you got to take Tony Pollard until further notice.
Well, I was going to say, because if you take him, you're running the risk of losing an RB1 for the entire season.
Right. I don't think it's as bad as Le'Veon Bell, but it's close.
That happened with Le'Veon Bell last year. Everybody drafted him early with the hopes of, he's going to be back, he's going to be back, he's going to be back. And guess what? He never came back.
No. I think Melvin Gordon's more closely to do the Le'Veon Bell situation than Zeke, but I do think that at this point, if Zeke's not shown up by end of dress rehearsal week 3, I'd say he's missing 1 to 3 games. That's just me.
That's possible.
Stay in Mexico.
Cabo.
Sincerely, Redskins defense.
Right. So, all right, that's all we got for that. Let's get into the top 12 running backs, top 12 wide receivers.
Rankings. Running backs. Wide receivers.
All right, top 12 running backs, top 12 wide receivers, presented by Trophy Smack. 1,000 different fantasy trophy combinations, fantasy rings, fantasy championship belts, and just in time for your live drafts, the draft board for $39. So free shipping on all those products. And if you use the promo code TH8FF ring, you get a free ring with your purchase of your trophy. So
do it.
TrophySmack.com is where to go.
Trophy ring, draft board. Get it done.
Right. We will have 3 of those at our draft this weekend.
Truth.
So.
Bam.
Not the belt, unfortunately.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Trophy Smack. Hook me up. Give me that belt.
Yes, brother.
Yes, brother. Oh, I missed that. Anyways, all right, so running backs right out the gate. We'll just kind of go through the list, and then we'll kind of talk about the ones that are more like the big discrepancies between them. So 1 through 12, we've got Barkley, McCaffrey, Kamara, David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, James Conner, Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, and Damian Williams wrapping out the top 12. So
it's a solid group.
I would say, I mean, to me, with the issue of Ezekiel Elliott and Melvin Gordon, I think Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, I've seen them go 1 and 2 depending on who's drafting in the league. I mean, I feel like they're pretty solid. They're both going to use, and I think both teams have bad defenses and are probably going to have to throw the ball a bunch. So in a PPR or half PPR setting, we saw last year Barkley just ate it up like a hungry hippo out there every week. It was just like
check down.
I mean, how many games did we see last year where it was like you're down by 15 points going into the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden he gets a touchdown on on 10 different receptions over and over and over. So I mean, it just that's Barkley. I mean,
with OBJ being gone now, it's even more
injuries to the wide receivers that they do have. I mean, it's pretty much him and Evan Ingram. I feel like at this point
now,
till Golden Tate can come back after a couple of games.
Well, Shepard's back at practice. However, he's still got a broken thumb or whatever.
Right. And then you go into a pretty consistent. I found Alvin Kamara is pretty much going third everywhere. It just seems that he has solidified that third spot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Zeke out of the top, the top 3 here.
Right.
I would put him at I would put him at number 2 ahead of McCaffrey if it wasn't for Latavius Murray.
Yes.
If it was just the Alvin Kamara show that we seen when Ingram wasn't there last year, he would by all means be number 2.
Right. So, and I think with Alvin Kamara, we know high side, like you said, without a solid running backup to him, with Ingram or Latavius Murray in this situation, he is, I mean, off the charts points wise.
He's everywhere.
But with a solid backup, he has shown still that he can be a top 5 back. So you're still banking on a top 3 or 4 running back spot.
Right. Well, you're buying into the offense here.
Yep. Right.
I mean, the Giants and Panthers are weaker offenses compared to the Saints, who are carrying 2 guys technically.
True.
Yep.
I agree. I don't mind any one of these
Maybe 3
picks.
this year.
It's true.
That Jared Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing really well for tight end.
Don't forget about that Michael Thomas.
I forgot
Well,
about him.
no duh.
All right, and then David Johnson, he's moved up into the top 4 or 5. He was sitting on that 6 spot for most of the time, it seemed like. And then with Zeke being hurt, or not hurt, with being in the situation, Todd Gurley's situation, and then Melvin Gordon's situation, I think everybody's now bumped him into the top 4, and they saw what the Arizona offense is going to do, and it's just going to, I think it's going to be a Saquon Barkley type.
Yeah, I'm
setup
not
with him.
impressed with that with Kyler Murray. Now I understand it's the preseason, and I understand teams are very, low key right now. They're not going to show everything, but I'm just not impressed with that offense. David Johnson, I like David Johnson in the offense because, like you said, I think it's going to be a lot of checkdowns.
Well, I think it's the offensive line that's still terrible.
Worst in the league.
That's the problem here.
They didn't address it either.
No, they dressed a bunch of wide receivers. So.
Well, they got a running quarterback because that's what he's going to have to do. We've
Right.
said this.
I don't know. And this one, I'm glad to see that he's kind of creeping back into the fantasy relevance running back wise, because I feel like he kind of went to the dungeon for running backs. The people were just so mad and peeved off at him like from last year because he didn't. Most people drafted him top 3 and he didn't play it down. So, and his offense with Gase, you've got him at 9, Trimboli.
Absolutely.
So you like him as a top running back, top 10 running back, but you don't like him in that top 5 spot.
Let's put it this way: he's only in the top 10 for me because Gordon and Gurley's and everyone else's situation.
Huh.
So for me, Bell's at the tweener. I don't know how he's going to fit with the Jets. I really don't. Gase has shown he's not just going to hand the ball off to one guy the whole time.
True.
I mean, he's all over the place, and I also think he might have been a product of the Steelers' offense.
I don't know.
We've seen what James Conner came in and did.
Right.
It was night and day, just plug and play.
Right. But I mean, does that tell you that it's the Steelers, or does that tell you that James Conner is just as good as Le'Veon Bell?
That's a heck of a question.
That's what I kind of, because I mean, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that's
Well, in his defense, Jalen Samuels came in and wrecked shop too.
this is
Right.
also true. See, but that's what I'm saying. When you have people say, well, maybe it's not the product, maybe Connor's just as good as Bell, but then you throw in the little asterisk, well, Jalen Samuels did pretty much the exact same thing. No, it wasn't to the level that James
Right.
Conner was or Bell, but it wasn't far off.
And I'm not saying Bell's a bad back by any means. I still think he's an RB1.
Right.
We're just trying to say, do I think he should be in the top 5 or top 6? And for me, it's there's too many question marks right now. But the whole offense in general,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they've added a lot of pieces.
they did. And Darnold is taking a big step forward.
Yes.
I just think they're a year early.
Well, they got him in place. So I'm high on Bell this year.
I would say I've listened to a lot of different people talk, and I've read a lot of different things out of the Jets camp, and he's happy. He's not Antonio Brown happy. He's happy, where it's a fake happy. Like Le'Veon Bell is legit actually excited to be in this offense, excited to be out of Pittsburgh. He has no ill will towards Pittsburgh. He's not talked poorly of them.
No, he just wants to show everybody
That he's worth it.
why he did what he did last year. He's
Right.
got a chip on his shoulder.
So I think
agree
he's
with that.
motivated, and I think with Darnold, Darnold is maybe a year or so away from being like, I wouldn't say elite, but a good quarterback. I mean, a great quarterback within not just fantasy, but just NFL wise. But like you said, they've added pieces in the passing game, and I mean, Gase is going to use Bell. I think they're going to. He's never had a back like this, and that's why I keep going to is the backs that he's had haven't been to the level of Bell, and I think that they've invested this much money. It's kind of the Kirk Cousins theme, but for positive purposes. You paid all this money for a guy, you got to use him. Otherwise, you're screwed.
Well, Kirk Cousins is actually a great example because he's going to play my next point. No concerns with him switching teams to a new offense now. I mean, we've seen guys go that were elite with one offense, go to another offense, and the transition is slow.
Well, it's going to be
Because
slow.
we need him at a
first.
top level now. We're talking about
Right.
a top 6 guy, so you need him to be hitting that all cylinders from day one.
But my thing is, if he takes 3 games to get adjusted, and then the rest of the games, we'll say 3 games, he's top 15 running back. Then you have the next 13 games, he's top 5. Is it really going to matter? Because I put in the concept of Zeke. If Zeke misses 3 games, are you still not drafting? You think he's going to be a top 10 back or top 6 back?
I get that, but I think Zeke's going to outdo Bell by a lot. I
I
think
do-
the gap there's big.
I think the gap is a decent size, but I'm saying I just think that Bell is going to do more than what people are expecting.
Yeah, I
him
look.
to do.
I look
That's
at.
the only
I
thing
look
I'd
at
say.
Bell as a poor man's Saquon Barkley.
Yep, that's kind of what I think.
Because he's going to get a lot of check down passes. He's going to get a lot of run work too. He's going to be a touchdown dependent guy though. I think.
And that's what scares
But
me.
for
There we go.
PPR purposes, he's going to be a monster. He's going to get you 5 to 7 points just in catches a game.
That's what I'm in standard. I'm a little more concerned of Bell because I think he's going to be more geared towards having in a PPR setup than he is a standard setting, if that makes sense. Like I think he's going to get a ton of receptions, ton of targets in the run game, which translates to half to full PPR. I'm not sure he's going to hit that double-digit touchdowns. Is what I'm more.
But who's it? Gase?
Yeah.
He said that he's going to run him into the ground. He's going to run him to the.
I'm just
wheels
afraid
fall.
because Barkley's value also comes with the big playability.
Oh, yeah. I
He's
get
got
that.
those long. I don't know if that's in Bell's game.
I know, but I'm
He's a
thinking
patient runner, finds the hole. He's normally a yards guy, but he gets it in chunks.
Right.
Not like a huge 90-yard play, which we've seen Barkley do. We've seen
Right.
CMC do. That's
We've
why
seen
these guys
Zeke
are
do
up
it.
there.
I mean, those guys have all done it. But my thing is, what I'm banking on Bell is, on averaging about 100 yards a game, whether that's receptions or receiving or rushing, and probably a touchdown every other game. Maybe one every game. I don't know. I just don't think he's going to – I have a hard time putting him in the double-digit touchdowns, but I don't see it's out of the question for him to have 7 to 8 or 9 touchdowns and averaging 100 yards a game and 4 or 5 receptions, honestly, in that offense, because I think they're going to have to score, and they're still going to be playing from behind.
I guess then, so if you give those stats where you're not going to give them double-digit touchdowns, so everyone below Bell on your list, then you're not going to give double-digit touchdowns?
No, I just think that they're not going to get the receptions that Bell's
Well, that's
gonna
what I'm
get.
saying, but we're getting 6 points for a touchdown here. I mean, I think Connor's going to score a ton. He's going to utilize a ton in the red zone. That's why I love Connor and the Steelers, because
Yeah.
they're going to score. They play terrible defense.
But I don't think Connor's going to see enough in the receiving game.
Maybe not, but I get that. He might see less than Bell. What I'm saying is he's going to score more.
Oh, I think Bell and Connor are going to be pretty well about the same by the end of the year. And I think it's going to be coming from different avenues. I think
Right,
Connor's going to be
exactly.
the running threat with the points coming in. I think Bell's going to come in with the receiving threats with points.
I think we're going to see Bell be the equivalent to what Matt Forte was when Gase was in Chicago.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It's not
Matt
far
Forte
off.
was a top 5 running
Yeah.
back every year when Gase was there.
It's not far off. I don't know. I'm willing to take a chance on Le'Veon Bell at this point because he's had a year
too.
off.
I'm not saying avoid him by any means. We're just talking.
Right.
We're trying to, I guess,
Right.
nitpick.
Well, the
on
only reason
top
I got him
guys.
at the 4 or 5 spot is because, again, Zeke and Gordon are out. He's
Right.
usually sitting in that
There you
7 to
go.
8 spot.
All right, James Conner, we're pretty much all the same on him,
Pretty-
6, 7, and 8.
pretty
Right.
close.
Now here's the next discrepancy. Todd Gurley. Y'all got him at 6. You got him at 6. You got him at 8. I've got him at 12. So I know you're still holding on that he's going to be utilized or be healthy enough to be fantasy relevant week in and week out.
He's been dealing with knee issues for the past couple years.
Right.
And he's always been at the top of the list. I understand, what's going on this offseason, but they're resting him. He's getting treatment. I think he'll be fine.
Right. I'm not hesitant on putting him in that top 10. I mean, I just every time I try to want to put him in that top 10 talk or top 10 spot, I've got about 8 or 9 other running backs that I'm looking at that I'm like, I don't know. They don't have as much question marks coming into the year. I think Gurley's going to be fine. I keep hearing nothing but positive about Darrell Henderson, and that's my concern is it's the same concept of any of these other running backs that may have a backup that's viable. Alvin Kamara is going to be capped because of Latavius Murray. I think Todd Gurley is going to be capped. I don't think it's going to be a great amount, but I think he's going to be capped enough by Henderson in some fashion.
Well, we don't
just
know
because
what
they
Henderson
drafted
can
him.
do. Yeah, we don't know what he can do, though. What if
Right.
he gets in there and it sucks?
Well,
I
then I think that's where Gurley goes up.
Brown and Henderson are both going to have a role. It's going to be carved out, and they're going to get touches, and it's going to hinder Gurley's overall production. I get that. But the offense itself is set up for the running back to succeed, that I think he'll have enough volume. To be honest with you, I think he'll challenge Le'Veon Bell this year for his stats. I think it's sort of the same. I have them in the same avenue right now.
Okay.
It's back and forth the same player.
Okay.
So, because for Gurley, he's going to be, for him to get to that 5 spot for me or inside that top 5, he's going to have to score touchdowns.
Yeah. I understand. All right, so Ezekiel Elliott coming in at 8. I've got him at 6, and Trebole's got him at 5. So we're kind of holding on to the end of the first tier of running backs, like the back end, banking on
I
it.
sent him packing. Right?
Well-
I know you sent him to Cabo apparently.
Let's be honest.
Well, until he comes back,
I
and
understand.
then I'll move him back up. But for
This is
right now,
actually-
he's outside my
And I
argument.
love seeing this because this is the realistic part. I'm holding on to the fact that I think he's going to be there and ready. Maybe 1 week he's off.
I don't.
And you have the other way.
Because I
which
think
is,
he's looking at what Bell did. And I understand it's not the same reasoning, but under his mind, he thinks, hey, I'll hold out this year, so what? I'll get paid next year.
Right. And even though 5 to 6 is not a big gap, I'm banking at 6, running back 6, that he's going to miss somewhere between 2 to 3 games max. But if we start getting into I guess my thing is if we get to week 1 and there's still no deal, then that's a concern because every 2 games or every 3 games that he misses, that's a concern because I forget which week it is that he has to report by. Is it week 8, I think? Otherwise, it's a wash for the season.
I think so.
Yeah, that's
Now-
what happened to Bell.
Right. So for contract purposes for the CBA, it's already a wash. He's already given up his year. So he's technically, if he shows up now, he's still under franchise tag with the Cowboys until 2021 because he did not show up by whatever that
He's just
August,
under
whatever.
contract, you mean.
Right. They can franchise tag him basically another year.
Right.
So, but for purposes
Well,
of
he still have 2 years.
Yeah, he's still 2 years.
2 years. He can then be franchise tagged after that.
Correct.
So he's still under his normal
Right.
2-year contract.
Correct. So, but with this, then now you've got, if he doesn't show up by week 8, it's the same situation with Bell. He cannot report. It's over.
It's too risky for me to put him to draft him in the first or second round.
And that's a viable
Yeah.
thing. I totally behind that if that's how.
And I feel like that's what you've got. You've got the 2 biggest things on the places on the poll was end of the first, end of the second. And those were the 2 biggest spots. The beginning of the first, beginning of the second, nobody was
If I had if I had the first overall pick and you got the last pick of the second round and first of the third, I would love to pick Zeke in that first third round pick.
And that's what scares me. That's why I can't let him get past me in the second round because that's the prime spot for him.
Well, by then you already got 2 studs.
Right.
So you're taking a risk on the risk reward there is less because you've already got 2 guys. If
Right.
he doesn't pan out, oh well. But if he does pan out, you just got a top tier guy in the third round.
You probably just got 2 top 5 running backs and probably a top 8 running back as your running backs.
Yeah, and he could show up any
Right.
week.
Right.
All right, Dalvin Cook, we're all, I think, pretty well on the same. I've just got him at 10 just because of some of the other running backs ahead of him, and it's not anything at him. I think he's going to be great, and I think he's going to be fine. And to me, the health issue is not a risk in my mind with him because he's had no setbacks, no issues of any kind. There's no talks of any type of injury setback with him this whole offseason. So
I hope that whole offense is better this year.
It will be.
it's going to boom.
It
I
I
think
just
it's
want them all
gonna-
to stay healthy too because that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think the offense is just going to explode like the Kansas City Chiefs offense did last year, where it's just going to be touchdowns.
Well,
every play.
they got big players everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll compute the wins for them because their defense still got.
Well,
to
you
shut
look at the
people down, but-
defenses in that division. The Bears is obviously good, but Packers defense, Lions defense, and they
True.
got a decent schedule
Right.
Yeah.
that favors them.
Right. All right. So then we got Nick Chubb. I think we're all about the same. I think towards the back end of the top 10 running backs is, I think, favorable. I've seen him as the highest I've seen him, I think, is like 5, which I was like, okay, well, let's pump the brakes here on this offense. But 7 to me is just outside that first tier of running backs of Barkley, McCaffrey, Kamara, David Johnson, even Bell. And I think you can put him in that talk of Connor, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, as well as the next guy.
I'd move him up a little bit more if it wasn't for Hunt lurking
Right.
in the wings.
Well, that's why Chubb's kind of intriguing to me because he might be ranked. I think I have him as 10 here.
Yeah.
But I'd be willing to jump on him a little earlier, hoping that he hits, and then I can trade him off, knowing that Hunt's coming in the background. Maybe everyone puts Hunt aside. They forget
Yeah.
about him for a little bit.
You just hope that the Browns offense blows up and then,
then I-
2
then
or
I-
3 weeks before the trade deadline, just get rid of
you
him.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I like it.
It's intriguing to me.
Right.
It really
I mean,
is.
I feel like he is the piece that in this running back, top 12 running backs that you could trade and feel good about trading him before the trade deadline, knowing that if he's blowing up week in, week out, and you know that, like you said, Kareem Hunt's coming right back in here shortly. So, I mean, with them getting rid of Duke Johnson says that Kareem Hunt's going to be
Yeah, he's gonna be
used in
there.
the offense when he gets back.
He'll be there.
So, and then Joe Mixon, I mean, even with the issues of A.J. Green and the offensive line kind of falling apart already, he's still holding that top 10, top 11 running back spot.
Did another offensive lineman retire?
It did.
Yeah.
Right after the
I know. It's
right
What?
after. Yeah.
Listen, this is why I
Well, he
was
didn't travel for the first
I know.
preseason game, and then it was like, yeah, he's retiring.
So 2 offensive linemen retire, and their first-round pick offensive lineman is out for the year.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I might go sign up.
There you
I mean,
go.
at this point,
I can fall down.
I can fall down. I can let us. I can be a
pull
screen
Albert
door.
Hainsworth,
I'll tell you
fall
what,
down and watch the
Joe
play happen.
Mixon is a top 5 talent running back for me, but he
Yeah.
plays on a terrible team with a terrible line, and that's
Well,
it's
That's what-
frustrating.
and I
That's
think
his-
that's what's
that's
going to
his
favor him because look what the Giants did with a terrible offensive line.
I
Check
hope-
down,
I
check
hope
down,
so.
and that's why I have Mixon in the top 10.
Yeah.
no,
He's
and
going to get a lot of receptions,
no, I agree, and I hope that's the
especially
narrative
with
that
A.J.
is written.
Green being out too.
I'd say touchdowns and receptions. I think are going to be his fantasy relevance.
I'll never shy away from Mixon because if the line can pull together even a little bit, like I said, you've got a heck of a talent there.
It just
It's
it
just
sucks
frustrating
because
right now.
I wanted to see the Bengals full force.
Right.
I did too.
And then wrapping up the top 12, Damian Williams. Blackburn and I both have him. I've got him at 14. Blackburn's got it at 18-ish. And you got him at 12. So you got him right at the top 12 spot. And I think we're all fading on him because of the overall talk out of camp with Darwin Williams jumping Carlos Hyde now, and then as well with the injury early on in camp, and he's just kind of lingering.
The injuries with me, because, those kind of injuries that he's got linger through the season. I think you got him that high because it's a high-powered offense.
Exactly. That's it. But I'll be honest with you, it's not a strong 12 at all. I mean, it's I could be put it this way. I could be talked out of it just after we leave the show. That's just how wishy-washy I am on it. But
and I've told all these people that are like, hey, that's either had the loadout or just in general, people are like, hey, where would you draft Damian Williams? Well, Damian Williams, for me, the only way I'm drafting him in the third round is if I've already got 2 running backs.
Man, you're that cold on him.
Yeah, he'd be a great flex.
Yeah.
Again, too risky. If you want to draft that as your RB2, you're taking a big chance. Because if that rookie guy jumps, he comes in and blows it up, you just lost your second-round pick.
I mean, they said he is very much a comparable to a Jamal Charles type talent. He's just a shifty.
And they ran him to the ground.
Yeah, but Reed's not one to just come off a guy.
No.
You know what I mean? He's trying to stick with one running back.
He likes Damian Williams.
He does.
That's his
But
BFF.
when his running backs, he switches. He went from Charles, Spencer Ware,
but like I said,
Cantor, all these guys got time.
And I know, and I always say follow the money. There's not a lot invested in Williams. There's no draft capital here. There's not a ton of contract here. So, I mean,
I will tell you, though, with Andy Reid saying that it's his guy and everything, Spencer Ware was his guy the last 2 years, and that was even with Kareem Hunt. He got shifted to the back because Kareem Hunt was doing well, and then he got booted out, not re-signed, and Damian Williams got re-signed.
Yeah, well, Spencer Ware dealt with a ton of injuries.
Right.
He was off the field for
Damian Williams is starting to trend in that direction.
Extended
I
periods
get
of
it.
time.
But still.
To me, I would, if I'm taking Damian Williams, I take him as my third running back, and I'm taking Darwin Thompson somewhere in that double-digit, like 11th, 12th round. You're going to have to.
Now I got to do comps here.
That whole offense is speed.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, if you watch Darwin Thompson, I mean, he's 5'9", I think 195.
He's like Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, he's just a short scat back kind of guy. And they said it's like Jamal Charles type setup.
Here's a good one. Devonta Freeman.
Yes.
Over Williams is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's not on mine. He was our consensus 13. I have him at 11 or 12.
Aaron Jones.
11.
Aaron Jones.
Boo.
We already know your answer.
I would take him over Damian Williams.
Okay.
I would take Damian Williams over Aaron Jones.
Good gosh, the hate is real.
Yeah, I love this guy right now. What about Josh Jacobs?
No.
They're
close, though.
It's an unknown factor for me, but
Close, though.
I'm taking Williams.
Leonard Fournette.
Yes.
Yes, I would take Leonard Fournette because I think he's going to get ran into the ground.
I think
we're
going to see a good Fournette now that they got a good quarterback.
Right.
Well, I was going to say Chris Carson, but
I like Chris Carson too.
I like Chris Carson. I don't have anything against him. I think he's in that bubble with Damian Williams, though.
Well, I think they're all in that bubble. Those guys.
Well, I would take Carson over Williams.
I think I would.
The only two guys that you mentioned was Jacobs and Jones. That I might. Jacobs is on the fence for me because he's an unknown.
Right.
And he's got the big. He's going to run the ball and catch, and they're going to keep him on the field.
He's a Bama running back that's got a power and can catch. So I mean,
what I love about it is you're not hearing so much about him out of camp. It's kind of like, hey, he's coming in doing his job. He's a professional. I want to hear that. That shows me that he's clicking with the offense. And it's just going to move forward.
I just watch preseason, what people say in preseason. I don't really pay much attention to it because when the real season starts, that's when we'll see what's going on.
True. All right, so let's transition to the wide receivers here. Number 1 through 12, we've got DeAndre Hopkins, Adams, Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill, Odell Beckham Jr., Juju Smith-Schuster, Ty Hilton. I want to say T.Y.
Ty Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton. Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, and Keenan Allen. So across the board. Anyways, DeAndre Hopkins is our consensus one. I know. DeAndre Hopkins consensus one.
Can I at least get a yay for him?
Yay.
Who?
Hopkins.
He gets a standing ovation.
Yeah, buddy.
And then Adams coming in at 2. No real big discrepancy. 2 and 4. I mean, that's not big in a wide receiver setup.
The top 4, it's all who you favor.
I feel like it's the top. I mean, our consensus top 3 really seem to be the top 3 running wide receivers really going, with the number 4 guy kind of starting to creep in there as well. So, but then you got Michael Thomas. No real
Love
big
Michael Thomas.
2, 3, and 4
PPR
for us.
monster.
So I don't think it's a big difference.
No.
Julio Jones, not much of a difference. I've got him at 5 just because I like the other wide receivers that I've got 1, 2, and 3. and I could see me switching between him and Odell, who I have at 4. It's not like it's a big difference between me with Julio.
I had to drop Odell back some.
Yeah, I can tell.
You're not in on this Browns team, are you at all?
Browns suck, dude. I hate Baker Mayfield. Welcome to Josh's hate corner.
Sit in the corner. No one puts baby in the corner. No,
obviously no one puts OBJ up there either.
Apparently. All right, so then you got Julio Jones. You guys both had him at 3, and I've got him at 5. So not a big difference. I just think that the offense is going to spread the ball somewhat around, but I think he's going to be a touchdown monster.
Who?
Julio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a touchdown monster.
Well,
That's what's going to keep
put it
him
this
in
way. I love Devontae Freeman, so no one
No, I
get
like
all
him.
crazy here. But if he
He's
does
not in the
have,
corner.
if he gets injury prone, which he's known to do, if he gets injured this year, Julio's volume is just going to go up. So now you already got
yeah.
a top 5 guy that's getting more volume.
Right.
I love him this year.
And then Tyreek Hill coming in at 5. You guys both have him at 6. I have him at 7, so not a big difference ranking-wise.
I like Hill.
As long as Hill is on the field, he's not dealing with anything off the field issues, and they don't do any type of time suspension of anything, and this is it, and it's done. We're quiet. He does nothing else.
Well, I think he's done now, right? Everything's done.
It's all done. It's the investigation part of the NFL is left open, but they're not actively investigating, as they said. Which means that in case he basically does anything else, like steals a Snickers bar from a gas station, then they're going to...
Basically, if he doesn't Kareem Hunt it.
Well, if he does
Really,
that,
that's what it is.
it
Yeah.
at least
The
better be
truth.
the peanut butter one or the king size.
True.
Because why risk it for just the regular one?
There you go.
Listen, I'd risk it for that peanut butter one. I'm not going to lie.
So, anyway, so Tyreek Hill at 5. I don't think there's a big difference. I mean, he could go anywhere. I've seen him go as high as the 4th wide receiver drafted, as low as the 7th wide receiver drafted. I just feel like when you kind of get into this Julio, Hill, even OBJ and Juju, I think they're all kind of intermixing within the draft. And it's all who do you want as your wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, depending on how you draft.
Just remember, Mahomes threw a ton of touchdowns last year, so you might want a wide receiver off that team.
I think it was like 50.
Yeah.
Somewhere in
Even
that
if he regresses the 40, that's still a ton.
Right.
Right.
So then OBJ, I've got him at 4. Trimboli's got him at 7, and then Blackburn, like you said, you have him at 10. He's in your.
I moved him up to 9.
Okay, he's in
got
your
his-
hate corner.
Oh,
still,
he's
right?
in the corner.
He's still in the corner.
He can
Okay.
sit over there with Aaron Jones. He can go up and catch all the balls between his legs all he wants to, but he's still trash.
Still trash.
No, he's not trash, but in the Browns
even
offense.
OBJ.
Well, no, but I love OBJ.
I know.
He
I'm
does.
just kidding.
But I just think there's too many mouths to feed in Cleveland. He's not going to have the opportunity that he had in New York.
We'll use the phrase he's capped by the talent around him.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, no, I actually love the offense that he's in. That's why I have him as high as I do. But I could see the narrative where he's injured. He is kind of injury prone. I mean, we kind of give him a pass on that, but he has
Right.
missed games over his career.
lot.
So
But
that could factor.
And
into
now
it.
he's never been on a team where he's got multiple guys that's going to get the ball.
And just remember, we're nitpicking among the top guys, the elite
Right.
guys here.
Yes.
So
Yes.
And then number 7, Juju Smith-Schuster. Trimboli's got him at 5. I've got him at 6, and then you've got him at 8. So I just think we're all pretty well the same. Honestly, I just think we're all in agreement that Juju's is just going to ball out this year. He's given the opportunity. He's on that platform now.
Yeah. AB's, we talked about it. Those targets got to go somewhere. He's going to get the brunt of it.
And he was successful with AB there,
Right.
getting all those targets. So you
Right.
can only imagine. I mean, outside of knock on wood injury, I don't see why he can't be a top potential 5 or 6 wide receiver this year.
I like Juju. I like his attitude. I like everything about him. He's a cool guy.
he's a guy you just want to root for.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
And he's a Steeler. I can't believe I said that.
I like Pittsburgh.
Him and Connor,
happens.
though.
Hey,
I like them both.
You what?
he
Both
likes
those
both.
guys.
And that's a Bengals guy saying that.
True. All right, now T.Y. Hilton or Ty Hilton, as I said earlier.
Tie, baby.
I've got him
Give
at
me that
10.
tie.
Trimboli's got him at 11, and you've got him at 10 as well. So I think we're all in that region of ranking-wise. And I mean, at least for me, my only concern for him is Andrew Luck's health.
Yes.
Because with Andrew Luck, he's a top 6 or 7 wide receiver potential. However, without Andrew Luck, he's really fighting to be in that top 12.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he did well with brisket, but
all right.
Yeah.
brisket. Yeah.
No.
I didn't really have a good breakfast, so that brisket really sounds good right
I
now.
know. I'm starving.
Anyway,
Want
so
that peanut butter Snickers there, too.
I don't know. I mean, you guys can speak what you think, but mine
No.
is
It's the
just a
same.
concern.
All the wide receivers on this list bank on their quarterback being healthy,
Yeah.
obviously. So, but yeah, Andrew Luck's injury prone too.
Yeah. And T.Y. is just one fading right now, just like you said, all because of luck.
Right. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just hoping that Andrew Luck is back for week 1 because if he's missing a game or two, then I mean I think the the smoke screen, the SOS is going up in Indianapolis, freaking out again.
It's not looking promising.
Right.
So-
I'm hearing the type of injury that he's dealing with is pretty much a pain management, pain tolerance setup. So it's going to be some sort of injection or some sort of pain medication he's going to take before to kind of numb the pain, and then it's going to be, can you play through it? And if you can't,
Well, they can't figure out where it's coming from, like what's causing it. And
Right.
that's an issue because if you can't find the cause, you can't find a cure, which means they're going to just be a trial and error with this, which he
Right.
could miss a game or two.
right,
Or 7.
or 7.
I'm just saying, in sleeper, like for the mock drafts, he went from being like the QB 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range. So now he's like 9.
Yeah,
And you could tell he's not being drafted till like the 8th, 9th round now.
right. He's kind of fallen out of grace because I think everybody's immediately freaking out, which is rightfully so, to the setup that they had years ago where he was, he'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back. And Dr. Jesse Morris from the Fantasy Doctors told us that offseason, do not draft, do not go anywhere near it. It's going to be an all-season thing. And he said that without any of the other major media saying anything.
Yep, that was our luck watch.
Yeah, so I'm concerned, but I think T.Y. has enough talent to be a top 12 wide receiver without him. I just think that's his ceiling is top 10 for me. I put him at his ceiling of 10. I think he's comfortable without luck 12.
What about Ty Hilton? Does he have a chance to
Ty
creep
Hilton?
into
Ty
top
Hilton
5?
has nothing. I just sent him to Blackburn's 8 corner. Ty Hilton.
Man, it's getting full in that room.
And then Antonio.
There's one more on this list that's going in there, too.
Yeah, someone
Slide
opened a
over.
window.
Antonio Brown, number 9 consensus. I've got him at 8. Treboy's got him at 9, and you've got him at 11. So
Open the door, Antonio, get in.
No, I like Brown, but right now with his feet and the helmet issue and he's a head case right now. I don't
He is,
understand.
absolutely.
Pittsburgh organization is like laughing right now, like, we look good
Mike
after
Tomlin's
this
like,
now.
thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking him. I mean, the writing should have been on the wall that they gave up only a 3rd round and a 5th round pick, and that was it. And Antonio Brown,
Well,
that was
Pittsburgh's still on the hook for $20 million, I think.
That's the other part. That's the comma, and they also were willing to take a $27 million cap
Right.
hit. So if that's not a writing
that
on the wall,
that tells you if a team's willing to take a $20 million cap hit just to get rid of a Pro Bowler,
and only take
that's
a 3rd and a 5th
problem.
round pick back.
Right.
Well, Raiders need, though, a face
They
of
did.
that team. So,
Well, they got one. Don't worry. He's on the helmet.
well, if he wears
That
it.
one pirate eye. I saw somebody
He looks like somebody's like uncle that's at a cookout
just.
with that mustache. I can't take it on
I
Hard
just
Knocks.
can't figure him out. Like he's so down to earth and level headed one moment, and then he is so far off the reservation the next moment. You're like, gosh,
You know what's
dude,
gonna
you
happen?
are probably great to have a conversation
You know what's
with.
going to happen? He's going to put his name behind a certain helmet and a certain footwear that you can wear in those chambers and make millions on that.
Oh, yeah. It's
He's
all-
going to brand it from all this drama that's going on this offseason.
I told a buddy of mine who's a big Raiders fan, I told him, he's like, do you think this is a big show or do you think this is really an issue? And I said, I think it's more of a show. I think it's all eyes on me. I do think the foot issue clearly was an issue, but I think this helmet thing, the fact that he's already sending out a grievance thing, I think it's just, personally to me, I think it's a veteran player not wanting to do training camp.
That's what I told
And
him.
he knows Gruden ain't going to let him pass on
Somebody.
I'm a veteran, just let me sit.
Right.
So I think that's what it comes down to. But I think he'll be there week 1, and I think
He's
he'll
still
be
there
fine.
working out, but as soon as
That's
they put
my
the
thing.
helmets on, he goes off the field.
I don't like my helmet.
I think it's all Hard Knocks ploy. I mean, he's just getting
He's
as much
there.
attention.
At least he's there.
Right.
Right.
Zeke, Gordon, he's there. Think about it.
Right.
Show up.
True.
Brown will play.
He'll be there
He'll
week 1,
play.
ready to go against Denver.
Yep.
Mike Evans at 10. I think I'm the lowest at 13, and I think that's just because of just the other receivers ahead of him. I just think that it's not that I think he's bad, but the recent injury that's kind of he's dealing with right now, a lower leg injury that's not really going too much in detail. I'm not saying that it's going to keep him out of games. I just think this could be something that maybe hinders his overall.
I just like Arians' offense.
Oh,
I do too.
and I think he's going to be a monster.
I think his ceiling for me is top 7. I think his
That's
floor.
where I got him at 7.
His floor is 13, which is what I've got him at.
I think
So-
if Godwin shows up and can ball out too,
Takes
I think it
those
only
double
helps.
teams
Because
away.
think about it, Peyton Barber and Rojo.
Who's injured.
We're not
Rolo's
liking.
injured
We're not
already.
really loving that. So
Super trash. They're in the hate room too.
right
That running back committee.
now, Winston, just keep it together.
Right. Keep it together. You got Brait, you got O.J. Howard, you got Godwin, you got weapons. There's no
Right.
reason. We say this. I feel like we say this every year about Jameis Winston.
keep
There's
it
no
simple.
reason to fail. but he keeps doing it.
Keep it simple.
Dude, he needs to come off the field, go play with your Lincoln Logs or whatever you have to do to keep yourself occupied.
Tinker
and then-
toys.
Yeah, and then go back in there and throw touchdowns. That's all we need
Do
you
the
to
Sean
do.
McVay thing. Don't
Yeah.
even look at the defense, what the defense and all that is doing out there for you for Tampa Bay. Just look at your playbook. Just head in.
And
the
don't worry
books
about
and
eating W's.
There you go. Don't eat W's
Trash.
because eventually you're gonna choke on an L. Anyways,
Oh, man.
Amari Cooper coming in at 11. I've got him at 9, but I think I'm moving him back just because the situation of the whole Dallas offense being in a just complete disarray at the moment. But more so, he's dealing with a foot injury, and as we know, with wide receivers, foot injuries relating to like ligaments or structural, like bone wise, doesn't always tend to end well. And he's trying to play it off now. He could be playing it off because, let's be honest, it isn't an issue or as big as issue, or it could be something he's trying to sweep under the rug and just pain tolerance. So I don't know. I think that he is a top 10 wide receiver talent, but I'm not 100% sold on how healthy he is at this moment. So I know you've got him at 7.
Yeah.
And you've got him at 15, so you're not all in on Amari Cooper at this point.
No, and it's nothing to do with Cooper in general. I'm not a big fan of Dak when it comes to the passing game. I mean, he's going to throw 3,500 yards.
Without Zeke, he's not going to do.
Right.
We've never seen him eclipse 4,000 in his career, and he's not thrown more than 22 touchdowns. That's not a lot for us to get a
Well, he only had
receiver
Cooper for
that's
half
hot.
a year last year.
And it
Right.
blew up.
It did.
But I
if you,
think Gallup's going to come along, and I think that's going to be a potential hurt for Amari
Well, I
Cooper.
think Randall Cobb's going to help a lot more too, which
well, how
is
about
going to
this?
open up things for Cooper.
So I looked at that because I knew that was going to come my way. His target numbers would have only put him at like 11 out of all wide receivers. So it's not like it's a huge
he's doing
jump
a lot.
here.
He's doing a lot with little.
Yes.
He's doing a lot at yards after the catch versus.
If he can get the double-digit touchdowns, no brainer. Probably even a top 5 guy. But I just don't see him.
I think
he's
they
never
need,
got there. In
I
his
think they
career.
need Zeke in this offense for him to
Absolutely.
blow up.
Not Tony Pollard. I mean, nothing against Tony Pollard. I think he's a good running back out of Memphis. I think he's going to be fine. Or not Memphis, but
These guys can devalue the running backs all they want to. Zeke is a beastly running back.
right.
He can change an offense.
I mean, he's in that group of that generational style running backs that they're just in a different tier of their own. So I just think that Tony Pollard can come in. He can get you 50, 60 rushing yards and maybe 20 receiving yards and a touchdown every couple games, but it's not the numbers you're going to get out of Zeke.
we seen what Zeke did when he was there, and then when he wasn't there, we seen Alfred Morris and Rod Smith and all these guys, and it was just like, I don't know, it wasn't great.
Zeke finished, what was it I told you guys? I put in the text.
12, I think.
12 with the missing 6 games. I mean, he missed almost half the season, and he still finished the number 12 running back in PPR that year. I mean, if that doesn't tell you how much he's valuable to that offense. And I'm sorry, Dak, I'd be taking a hometown discount or a discount of some sort to get Zeke back on the field because Tony Pollard ain't going to be taking blocks like Zeke was out there
Dak
for you.
can't, though. He can't afford to take a discount.
Oh, I know.
Well, they better start
Somebody's gonna find-
because the
somebody's got
money's they've already started dishing out money to linebackers now, so that there's less money.
That's hilarious.
That's
I'm
less.
sorry, that's funny.
That's less money on the table now for each one of those guys.
Yeah, the pie just got a little bit smaller.
Exactly.
I could easily see them paying Dak and maybe it.
Ooh, that is trash.
Oh, I can see that.
I don't think it's a bad business move for me or the organization as a whole. I don't want to wrap all my money up in a running back. We've seen the Steelers pay to get a receiver off their team and then not pay a running back and
Yeah,
then
but
be
Amari
fine.
Cooper's not a head case.
I get that, but they've established that offensive line and that defense. Listen, you can get by with an okay quarterback now.
No,
a
you
decent
can't,
wide receiver.
because Dak is trash, dude. Look, when Zeke wasn't in the game, what did Dak do? Nothing. Right?
I get that.
I'm not talking fantasy purposes. I'm talking real football.
No, I know, but now we've been in this offense now a lot longer now. About 4 years in, 5 years in from.
This is now year 4.
So he's more comfortable in general. He's going to be more of a veteran presence. I just think the growing pains for Dak were on the table early. We'll see what it is afterwards.
I will tell you, as a Cowboys fan, I like Dak as our quarterback. I don't like him as an elite quarterback. I think he'll never hit the Romo level of like elite quarterback wise. I think he's not that guy. He is somebody who's going to get you through the game. He's a game managing quarterback. He's not going to win you a game.
Romo was a manager. He wasn't even elite.
Well, hold on, but their Hall of Fame quarterback Aikman was a game manager.
Correct, but he had all the pieces around
Right.
him.
That's
no,
why.
he was loaded around him, but also
And
but
defensively.
you know where they were successful too? Offensive line was dominating.
Also,
It changed
And they
that
had a good
era.
defense.
And
also,
very good defense.
It was a different era. It was run first back then.
But that offense is still the same.
I get it.
That's the only thing.
That's what I'm saying.
It's still the 1990s Dallas offense there. Jason Garrett ran that offense, and he's literally coaching
He
it
doesn't
now.
need his quarterback to throw up huge. He doesn't need Aaron Rodgers numbers. He doesn't
But I
need
will tell
Mahomes
you,
numbers.
my concern is Tony Pollard is not close to the Zeke. And to me, if Zeke's in the game, Dak has a better chance of play action, bootleg, and throwing the ball to a screen or anything else. If Tony Pollard is in, Tony Pollard I think is going to get lost in the shuffle, and he might be fine playing like get points wise for fantasy, but he's going to get lost in the shuffle of that offense. Nobody's going to be worried about him.
I guess how I look at it is, okay, you don't. Let's say Zeke's off the question now for Dallas. There's other guys in this league that have veterans that could come in, pair with Pollard until you go get your guy on another rookie contract. I mean, listen, Fournette's floating out there in Jacksonville right now who's not really in favor of him.
Right.
He's going to take a discount because no one really wants to pay him.
Well, Jay Ajayi's sitting on the couch right now.
There you go. Just bring a guy in.
I think he would flourish in that offense.
I think Zeke's people need to realize that he's in a sticky situation with the Cowboys. Listen, he is a great talent and maybe one of the best running backs in the game. Maybe that guy right now.
Right.
But right now, he's not playing. He's not.
So, no, I get it. I get that. But they're going to play hardball.
Yeah. And
telling you.
unfortunately, he's got no leverage.
Right.
So
his leverage is Tony Pollard either not doing well, getting hurt, or Dallas losing a couple games before he comes back.
I just think we've seen what Dallas can do without Zeke, and it wasn't pretty.
No.
And listen, I want Zeke on the field, and I want Amari Cooper to be healthy on the field because I think that's fun to watch.
Right.
And I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I just like to watch football, and that's better to watch when they're scoring points.
True.
And he's a Buckeye. Come on.
All right.
I root for him.
Right. Keenan Allen, number 12, wrapping it up.
Hate corner.
I think the injury that he's dealing with of some sort, I think he'll be fine. But I will tell you, them bringing back Dontrell Inman and being River basically fought to get him back over, I think that hurts. That's another mouth that's got to go, that's going to get fed in this offense. And I think just having to deal with Hunter Henry and Mike Williams is one thing. But
and Eckler, too, because he's going to be playing. He catches a lot of balls.
So
Keenan Allen's obviously the number one target, but I don't like these injuries with him, and he's not the youngest guy.
No, Keenan Allen's going to carry his value and fantasy weight because of the red zone targeting and the red zone touchdowns. That's what his fantasy, I guess, prowess has been since day one of being in that offense. So I'm okay with it. But
Keenan Allen is hopefully stays healthy in the preseason, comes out, balls out for a while, and then you better dump him because he's going to get hurt. He's going to miss games.
I'm somehow still managed to win a playoff game with him getting literally zero sitting there. So it does happen. So that's our top 12 running backs, top 12 wide receivers. No real surprises of names. I mean, it wasn't any like random guys that showed up in the running backs. It was just more of like where we kind of.
I know. I didn't see
laid
Giovanni
them out.
Bernard.
Didn't see
I'm a little
them.
disappointed.
Well, look at under the bottom of trash.
Wow.
He's under that trash tier.
Hey.
Anyways.
Wow.
So.
You didn't even let him in the room. You kicked him out the window.
No, he's not even allowed in the hate corner. He's not even allowed in the parking lot.
God. He's that kid sucking his thumb, wishing he was playing tag.
Probably. Last picked or not at all. Thanks for joining us on today's show.
Go play Foursquare, Giovanni.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on today's show, the podcast, YouTube, DATV, which you can watch the show on DATV on 10:30 p.m. Fridays, 4 p.m. Sundays. Whether it's the podcast or YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, like, comment. We appreciate all those.
All the buttons, hit them.
Hit them all. I don't
Smash
care what they
everything you can.
Except for the X at the top of the screen.
Right.
Or that down thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that one.
And then the site, thehateful8ff.com. There's apparel as well as the articles. We had one out just recently, and then there's another one coming out. Mickey Garcia's got one that's getting ready to come out this week. And then the averageDonation.com, draft load out $10. It goes all the way up until the Thursday morning of the first game of the season. So it's definitely worth to invest in. I know that a lot of people have already drafted and their teams have sent it, emailed it back, and they're looking pretty solid. I mean, I don't know who they're playing against, but I mean, they're looking pretty solid.
Some of them are just nasty.
I'm like, who did you play against? Like people who weren't even looking or what? I mean, so I don't know if that's how good that the layout is for them, but I mean, some of these teams are just nasty teams, like you said. So anyways, and then you can follow us on Twitter at jpickle, TH8FF. You can follow Blackburn at jblackburn, TH8FF. And you can follow Trimboli at ftrim, TH8FF. Anything else?
Nope. Thanks for listening.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Yep, and we'll see you guys next week.